Hello and welcome, this is Philip. Today I want to be sharing with you how I go about creating a character design using fashion references. And if you're interested, I made a video about fashion design in general and what we can learn from it as artists. If you're interested in watching that, I'm putting a link up here somewhere. But for now, I just want to share with you my process and the steps from start to finish and what I think about when I use reference. What I like to do when I'm designing a character and I want to define a direction for a character, I like to create different distinct variations that look differently for one particular character. That way I can explore different variations to go for the character that I want. And usually when I don't know how the character is going to look like, these very distinct variations are going to help me explore that, right? So before I start drawing or doing anything for my character, I just want to have like a base gesture, like a pose. And so I'm not focusing on the line art or any details. I'm just gonna roughly sketch. My lines are pretty rough. And the focus for now is just the pose, the gesture of the character, focusing on the proportions and the anatomy. And after that, I'll just duplicate that 3 times. And then after that, I'm going to add line art on top of it. And so this base helps me whenever I design clothing on top of the character that already have a base model, if you will. So the next step is the design, and I'm focusing on the line art. And this is the step where I'm thinking about the most. And this is where I'm using my reference together, to be inspired and to gather elements from the various references that I'm using. For example, if we look at our reference right now, for the first design, I pretty much literally interpreted the exact same reference because I really liked the shapes used, and I basically interpreted the same idea for my character and added extra elements and details on top of it to make it more interesting, to make it more fantasy looking, or to fit more into a game project, something like that. But for my 2 other designs, more of a simulation of different kinds of elements of other designs. For example, I looked at the belt buckle here for the second one. I looked at the shoulder cloak and added that. I looked at this reference and I thought that the color combination worked really well, and the style of clothing worked really well for something oriental that I wanted to make for the 3rd character. Basically, you get the point that what I'm doing with the references, I'm allowing myself to grab various elements here and there to assimilate my own design for the 3 characters. And so after we are happy with the design and the line art, now the lines aren't perfect. They're not super clean at all. Usually when I just focus on the line art and colors, I make my line arts really clean. But because now I'm going to paint over everything, I just make my lines good enough. And if we're happy with the designs, we can go to the next step. Also, when you're thinking about designs, not only the clothing is important. If you're trying to define a specific character and you're trying to explore different kinds of personality for your character, different kind of hairstyles can really help with that. Different hairstyles can really change the face, but more so the personality as well. And so if you want to explore different versions of a specific kind of character, I think thinking about those things can really help get different variations, because they basically have the same face, but the design that you create on top of it really can change a lot about that character. So if we're happy about this, the design part, which is the most brainy part of it all, we go to the colors. We add flat colors underneath the line art. And one way I do that, I can show it, which is basically I grab my magic wand tool and I select around the line art. And then I do Ctrl-Shift-I to invert the selection. And then I add like a solid color underneath. Like this, and now I have a silhouette of that character. And now I can use that silhouette to lock the layer and then just fill in the colors of different parts of the character as I wish. So I can, and that's how we get to the next part, which is the flat colors. Now, I think about the colors as much as I do about the design. I think the colors are equally as important, because the color combinations that you're going to think of and the color templates are really going to emphasize or really bring out the idea that you're thinking, right? These colors are really going to define your idea that you have for these characters. And as you can see, the color combination really make it so that the variations feel really distinct, but also the colors are what's going to make the character really memorable. And so if you think about really good color combinations that can really define, also add an extra personality layer to your character. After we have the flat colors, now we can go to the next step, which is I'm going to merge this, and then I paint over the characters until I have a result that I want, right? I keep in mind one light direction, and I paint over all the objects in the character, thinking about material expression, and until I have like a painterly result. So this is how I go about creating a character design. These are my steps that I use, and these are pretty much consistent all the time. This really helps me have an efficient workflow. This is going to be it for now. I really hope you enjoyed it, find it interesting, or find it helpful perhaps. If you have ideas or suggestions, let me know in the comments. And this is going to be it for now, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.